Hey, what up, Long Beach? Let's start the show, your weekly rundown of all the top Long Beach sports stories.
The show is brought to you by the Long Beach Post. We're here in the offices of the Long Beach Post in downtown Long Beach. It's hosted by us, Mike and JJ of the 562.org, where St. Anthony has got our game of the week.
That's right, the Saints are on the road this weekend at St. Paul, taking on the Swordsmen. The winner of that thing is going to win the Delray League Championship this year and go into the playoffs with a lot of momentum.
The Saints would not be in this league championship game without a super heroic performance from Victor Gomez last week in a game on the road against St. Genevieve in overtime. The St. Genevieve running back going into the end zone to score to win the game. Gomez pops the ball out. St. Anthony would recover, and a few plays later, they scored the game-winning touchdown in overtime.
Before they were able to even score the game-winning touchdown, they were kicking a field goal to win, and a running into the kicker penalty kept that final drive alive. You're right, Hollywood screenwriters, eat your heart out. The Saints have got a propensity for entertainment, and most of that comes from their offense. The three-headed monster of quarterback Lucas Lamar, running back Sonny Iopiu, and wide receiver Riley Jenkins. We talked about him a little bit last week. They're going to have a tough challenge this week because that St. Paul defense has only given up 105 points in 8 total games. The Saint offense and the St. Paul defense will end up deciding the Delray League Championship. It's our game of the week, so you're going to find that highlight video at Long Beach Post.
We're moving into the fall playoffs, although it obviously still feels like summer outside. Right now, you can go to the 562.org for full previews of all of the high school girls volleyball playoffs. They begin this week. We're excited to see how all 6 of the local teams do. They all enter the playoffs ranked in the CIF polls. Then, in 2 weeks, November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, we'll have the hot release of the CIF playoff brackets for football, boys water polo, and girls tennis.
We got to check in on the Vikings. LBCC football has an interesting season. I know we wrote about them earlier. They're doing their own version of Hard Knocks, Last Chance U. You can watch that behind-the-scenes look at LBCC football on YouTube right now because they're on a road to redemption, and it's been an up-and-down season so far.
But they got a big win to start off conference play. We've got some great footage of that thanks to our guy, Matt Simon. They're looking good in that conference to get back to their championship ways. Another team looking good to continue their championship tradition, the LBCC men's water polo team ranked number 1 in California and just moved to 19-0 on the season. It looks like a month from now we may have some really great news about that Vikings team as they compete in the state tournament.
You know, we love writing about the kids on the field, but we also like writing about the Long Beach sports community off the field, behind the curtain. People you might not know about. In this week, we are writing about the Lakewood ball kids, and I didn't say ball boy on purpose. Kylie Agnew and Kingston Meyer are the daughter and son of Carl Agnew and Scott Meyer, the defensive and offensive coordinators at Lakewood. Kylie is so incredible. They're both 11, so they got the young encouragement, enthusiasm. They show it all the time during the games. She even comes out for the coin flip with the team. They are a part of that program, and bringing in the families is part of what Scott Meyer is trying to do over there at Lakewood to rebuild that program. So it's really interesting. It's one of the many stories you'll find right now at the562.org. But I'd go quote of the week for Ish, our guy, Coach Platon at Poly Boys Water Polo, an actual...
You're not doing Ryan Petway?
An absolute epic. Yeah, we want to see the Ryan Petway quote. You've already seen it. He does it every time he beats Lakewood.
It's the best.
So Coach Platon is the boys water polo coach at Long Beach Poly. They played an epic battle with Milliken Moore League action last week. The Rams edging the Jackrabbits in overtime. It was back and forth. It was a really, really exciting game. And so I talked to Ish after the game, and I just opened my phone up, put it out, and was like, hey, and as I'm starting to ask the question, and he just took over and gave me the quote that if I were an athlete or I had a son or daughter who was an athlete and they had this coach and this was his response to losing a rivalry game in overtime, hotly contested, the whole thing, this was his response, this is the coach I would want my kid or me to have.
Milliken was the team in the pool that deserved to win. Like they fought for it hard. My boys played hands down, like I was telling them just now. Individually, every last one of them played their best game of water polo. And it's so fun to coach them because every single game this season, they've grown. Every single game, they get better and better and better. And they have that drive and that fight. And like people ask me like on campus, like, oh, like how's water polo going? I'm like, awesome. I've got the best group of kids that keep fighting and want it so bad. And so that loss sucks. But I'm still super proud of these guys.
That's it for this week's episode of the show, brought to you by the Long Beach Post and the 562.org. Stay tuned to both websites for coverage of all the games we've been talking about. And go get your hat. It's your last week to get the 562.org hat. Visit the website to find out how you can get yours.
We'll see you in the stands this weekend. Take care, Long Beach.